Hey everybody, it's Alex. I'm back again to share with you guys my thoughts on different inks and different stamps. I had shared with you guys that in a previous video that I had basically given up on any of the cheaper acrylic stamps because they just weren't stamping right and I felt like I was just wasting my money. And so, you know, I just didn't want to buy any more of those, even though they are the most readily available stamps that you could buy. You can go to Michael's or Joann's, or, you know, you don't have to order them online. I was just like, oh, I give up, you know, I mess up so many things. And I wanted to focus on saving my money for the photopolymer stamps or even the cling rubber stamps, but I prefer the clear stamps because I can see what I'm doing. So I want to share with you guys my findings because I was playing around, and I recently have gotten some better inks, and I'll tell you what, it's definitely changed my mind on the cheaper stamps. So I want to share with you guys. So what I have here with me is, excuse the lighting, I'm trying. I have this Hero Arts Tide Pool Midtone Shadow ink, and these aren't, with the exception, I think Joann's had them for like a very short period of time. You mostly online or your scrapbooking store, you have to get those. I have a Color Box archival dye ink to share with you guys. I am going to give you an example of this Heidi Swapp archival dye ink in teal. That's why I picked those two closest to each other. And then this, I just got it. It goes with this iPress machine, but it's by Hampton Art, so it's a name brand ink pad. It just doesn't, the packaging was for this, you know, for this thing. Then I also have a Cat's Eye Martha Stewart ink. I bought purposely a Studio G ink. I went in search for one. I couldn't find one, so I went to different Michael's and I found one. So I have one of those. That's the only one that I own. I don't have any more. And then I have this cheap ink that I got in the kids section at a party store. So these are all the inks that I'm going to share with you. And the stamps that I'm going to share with you is, we're going to try this rubber wooden one. We're going to try these, and these are by Hampton Art. They also go with this machine, the iPress machine. But they are the cheaper acrylic stamps. We're going to try the Recollections brand rubber cling stamps. We're also going to try, these are new out to Recollections, to Michael's, these Valentine stamps. These are also the cheaper acrylic stamps. I'm going to show you one of these dollar stamps that mostly everybody could get their hands on. And then a better photopolymer stamp. I'm going to use the more solid image here. So, hold on. 1 second. Okay, I was like, what is that noise? So, those are the different stamps that I'm going to share with you. What I'm going to do is, I don't really want to give away my findings, you know, and this is just, like I said, my opinion. I'm not professional or, you know, licensed stamper or whatever you want to call it. It's just what I found. So hopefully other people that are discouraged, it will change your mind as well. So first we're going to try one of the inks that you can just go to Michael's and get your hands on. You can buy this one there, and you can buy this. I bought this at Michael's. I also bought this, but it came out during the holidays, so it's not always available. So these three from Michael's, and right now, if you go, if they even have them in stock, because they went out like crazy, you can also buy this Heidi Swapp at Michael's. So, but first we're going to start with this. What I noticed about this, they have changed their packaging. The packaging before was square, and when you take this off, this pad doesn't even go over the plastic part. So this is what I found was happening. Let me get, I'm going to use one of these cheaper dollar stamps with the cheaper ink. And this is just what I used to buy all the time. And I would get so frustrated because I couldn't make my images look like the ones I saw on some of the YouTube tutorials. So, and first you'll notice with these clear stamps is that they are very hard to separate from the clear sheet. So that's the first thing about acrylic stamps. So we'll just put it on this block here. And then let's stamp this down. Now, a bigger stamp, like, let's do this one. I don't know, this one might even work. I know I was trying to stamp it with a bigger stamp the other day, and since the pad is not raised above the packaging, you could see the marks of the ink pad. Okay, so there is a cheaper dollar wooden stamp with a cheaper ink. Let me move that off of here. Do you see like the patchiness and the bubbling that it didn't look very crisp to me. So, okay, we'll redo this one again. We got the clear dollar stamp with the dollar ink. And there we go again. It's not, the lines aren't crisp. You got all this patchy bubbleness. And then, I mean, they'll tell you, oh, you can do double stamping. You can go over it again, but you have to line it up, you know, like just right to be able to make that work, or you kind of ruin your project. You know, like say that was the last thing you had to stamp and it just gets ruined. Okay, so that ink, what was I doing? Okay, so that is, oops, let me keep that out. What am I doing? That's the dollar ink. Okay, so we'll take, I just wiped this stamp off. We'll take this stamp and we will get the Martha Stewart, which is probably like, you know, a couple steps above the Studio G. We'll get this Martha Stewart ink pad, and I'm being nice and generous with the ink. It's not like I'm not doing it. And we'll stamp it down. And see what it looks like. So again, there's still like, you know, some patchiness. The line is a little more crisp on the outside. It doesn't look like it's like bleeding through or whatever. So like I said, this Martha Stewart's probably a step up above this Studio G. But again, I'll take, let me wipe that stamp off. I'll take that same stamp . Oh, that's my phone. Okay, I'm being nice with that. Nice and generous. Okay, so here's a Studio G. Here's Martha Stewart. Okay, see the lightness and the patchiness. It's still like the same idea, and I just didn't like that. I'm like, I was just so frustrated, and I mean, and even for a rubber stamp to do that, that's kind of not good. So let me wipe that one off. Here is the, like, if you were to go to a dollar store and think you're okay picking up an ink pad, that'd be one of these. Here's that same Michael's dollar stamp, patted a few times like the other one. Stamp it down, and their patchiness, it's just not good. Bubbly, don't like it. No, thank you. So we'll be nice with this one. We'll stamp this one in there. Stamp it down here. And no, it just doesn't, see, that doesn't look nice. It doesn't look like the, you know, this just, I just couldn't get it to look like the stuff on the TV. So, where's that ink topper? Here. There's that. Okay, so now let's do, okay, and that's the cheaper. I should have bought a black one, but I didn't see that in black. Okay, this is Hampton Art. You would think it might be a step above the Studio G. I don't know. Let's see. And then we have this color box. Love this ink. And you can get it from Michael's. So we'll check this Hampton Art black ink. It doesn't say if it's dye ink or not on the packaging. So that is a couple steps up, you know, from Studio G in a black ink. You see the lines get a little more crisp. There's not so much bubbling. I mean, you can see through it a bit, but it's not so much bubbling. So that's not too crazy bad, but it's not very crisp. So let's wipe this stamp off again. And we will try it in this. See that ink pad? Well, minus whatever is on there. Doesn't that just look nice? And when you even when you stamp it down, man, you can feel a difference. Okay. Okay, so first right here, I don't know if you could tell, but to me it looks like two different colors of black. You notice the edges way more crisp of a line than, you know, like these edges. See that? Okay, so that's a little bit of a better ink. We'll try this rubber stamp. Make sure I got it all the, yeah. Try not to stamp on my new desk. Okay. Alright, let's see what we have. Oh, better. Better. I mean, some of it is, you know, open right there. But the lines got more crisp, you see? Like on the outside versus those. Alright. So that, you know, that's a better ink. Definitely compared to Studio G or this little Hampton Art ink. So now I tried those two. Let's try a Recollections cling. A Recollections cling stamp. We'll do this flat one, and the rubber doesn't look so rubbery. It looks pretty shiny. So we'll try this Color Box ink pad. Oh, that thing got stuck on there, whatever was on the pad. Oh, it got stuck in there. That's not fair. We got to give it a right chance. There we go. Okay. So, Michael's Recollections brand cling stamp with Color Box black ink. See how crisp those lines are? It might be a little splotchy in the middle, but it doesn't look like it's bleeding like that. Their formulas, they just have to be like way different than each other. Way different. I'm gonna try. Gotta get that ink off there. Be nice, like I did to the other one. Hopefully I got all the black ink off. Okay. Now you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. See the splotchiness? And the outside lines don't seem as crisp. Like, see that as like a real nice corner, and that goes like, it just, whatever the formulation of the ink is, and I don't know, I don't know what to call it. I just noticed that there's just differences with these inks for real. So we'll do a Michael's new Recollections clear acrylic, and this time we'll try this Hero Arts shadow ink, and since I don't have it in the same color, I'll compare it to this one again for you. See this pad nice and raised up above the container. So like I said, remember this is a Michael's clear cheap acrylic stamp. Now with this shadow ink, you guys probably know and I've seen the videos on, when it stamps, it's kind of splotchy, but when it dries, it generally dries pretty nice and crisp. So we'll just go back to that when it's had its little minute to dry. To be fair, that's the deal about this stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's try this guy. This is such a pretty color, but see what I mean? Like, you get that line on your stamp for a bigger stamp. You see? Oh man, let me bring that up. Let's see what I'm talking about. Okay, so this one is, you know, it's still kind of drying, and this is a dye ink. And this is a dye ink as well, but it's cheaper. It's the Recollections brand. And look at all the bubbling, and just the lines are not crisp. See the outside of that again? And that? I'm probably making my point with you guys, but I just wanted to show you the different, like what they do, the differences. And this ink here, and this changed my mind on these cheaper acrylic stamps. I can still use them as long as I have a better ink. So let me do this Heidi Swap one. Some of you guys, I don't know, see, this is also a dye ink, so it has a nice raised pad. Nice and pretty with this teal. Oh, let me do that again because I swiped it. Let me not swipe. It has a swipe mark. That's not fair to Miss Heidi. Okay, so we're gonna let that sit a second. Okay, and then, so that was a cheap stamp with better ink, okay? And, okay, see? Cheap stamp, better ink. Cheap stamp, cheap ink. Not a good combination. So, if you do one or the other, this is my point that I guess I just wanted to come to. If you have a cheaper stamp with a better ink, you'll get a pretty good impression. If you have a more expensive stamp with a cheaper ink, here, let me find the more expensive stamp. Like the photopolymer is what I mean. You can, if you have a more expensive stamp, you can generally get away with using a cheaper ink because the stamp is better quality. So I'm just getting out this little guy. Give me my cheap ink back here. Oh, it just looks awful. But you see, that's the more expensive stamp with the cheaper ink, and that's the cheap stamp with the cheap ink. It just looks blah. But let me try to clean this off a bit. But generally, you know, with the more expensive stamps, you can use a cheaper ink and get a better impression than if you were to use cheap stamps plus cheap ink. That is my point. That is what I found out, that while I was playing with these, you know, clear stamps, because I liked them so much, I wanted to get them from Michael's, but I'm like, I just can't make them work. That getting this, like even this neon ink, getting these better inks saved my stamps. Like, I was going to get rid of them all. That did not stamp out. It's not going right on camera. I've tried to like practice and tried to go over what I found like in practice off camera. And it's not really working for me on here. But anyway, so that's my point, is I've had a change of heart. I have chosen to keep my clear stamps because I was able to have some better ink. So again, this is a cheap stamp with cheap ink. This is Heidi Swap ink, and no, yes, these are Heidi Swap inks right here, and this one is Hero Arts shadow ink. So the cheap inks with the cheap stamps, it's got a thumbs down. So if you guys have any questions, if I helped you guys at all, I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling. Yeah, you can leave, comments down below, for maybe, you know, you have a comment on what you found, or maybe that helped you at all. I don't know. So, but anyways, I just wanted to share with you guys that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.